Everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome on. I'm glad you guys are able to jump on early. We have a great property tour in store for you today. My name is Scott Buckholz. I'm your host today. We also have Keith Jones on, our co-host. If you guys could, we'd love in the beginning of these property tours for folks just to kind of reach out through the chat room by saying what city and state they're from. That way we can share where everybody's tuning in from. Happy 4th of July weekend for everybody. But if you could, there we go. We got Rochester, New York on. Welcome on. Let's see who else. We got Maryland. Welcome on, Damien. Welcome on. Chicago. Absolutely. Welcome on, guys. Waldorf, Maryland. Seattle, Washington. Minneapolis. Welcome on. Let's see if I missed anybody yet. Philadelphia, welcome on. DC, Northern Virginia. I'm in the Cincinnati. Let me type in here. Welcome on, Washington, DC.
Hey Scott, we got Steve out of Philly, because Philly, they got that
Oh,
baseball
yeah,
team.
that's right. Philly, welcome on, Philly. Thanks, Keith. I appreciate that plug. And of course, our featured investor today is out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We'll be bringing out Julian here in just a minute. Let's see. Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky is on there. We got Maya from Delaware. Welcome on. Well, guys, we're going to get started here in just a couple minutes. If you just logged on, please type in the chat room what city and state from. We appreciate that. It's good to share that with everybody on. That way they can see other folks on from all over the country. We love doing these on Saturday mornings where we get to feature an investor from our community. And today we've got a great property tour in store for you coming out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Welcome on. Yaz is on. Welcome on. There's another Chicago. Glad to have you on. Welcome on. So as you guys can see that are on today already, we got Milwaukee. Welcome on. Lakeisha, glad to have you. We've got folks from all over the country on. We need somebody from the Southwest to jump on. We don't have anybody plugged in from the Southwest yet. At least no, I missed one. Salt Lake City. There you go. Welcome on, Miss David. Sorry about that, David. Guys, we're gonna get ready to get started here in just about a minute or so. And again, we have a great property tour in store for you. So hang in there tight. There is, did I miss another one? Chicago, welcome on. We got a few people from Chicago today. That's fantastic. Well, I'm actually going to go ahead and get started at a minute two. So because we have a great tour in store for you. So let's get rolling here. And as folks jump on, we'll get them into the room. Okay. Well, good morning. Good morning, everybody. We appreciate everybody being on this morning, this 4th of July weekend. Oh my gosh, what a great weekend. It is July 6th, and we have a fantastic property tour for you guys today. I am your host, Scott Buckholz. We also have Keith Jones on, our co-host. We still have lots of people jumping on from all over the country this morning. We do these property tours every Saturday morning where we get to feature an investor or sometimes a team of investors from our community. We're a national community of investors. So we love to share, we love to collaborate, we love to learn together and basically do business together. And so today we've got our featured investor, Julian Franco. I've known Julian for, boy, as long as I've been in this community. I love sharing that story with folks, Julian. I remember after I got started and I met this group and I jumped in and went to a national conference in Salt Lake City. You were one of my very first people that I got to meet in the community. We actually went to lunch and I got to meet you and some of the other folks from Southern Florida. And so excited to see you back out today and kind of hear a little bit about what you got going on and things like that. So, Julian, you want to come on out, jump out?
Sure. Hey, hi, Scott. Thanks for having me. How's everybody doing today? Can you hear me right?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been in one of these property tours, and I'm so excited to be here and share some information with you guys. Can I jump right in, or you want
Yeah,
to ask?
we love starting these off, Julian, and I'm sorry I have a grandfather clock going off behind me. Uh, if you could hear that, I apologize. We love starting these off by kind of sharing a little bit about your background and your story, because there'll be a lot of folks on, a lot of new folks, a lot of guests on today who are kind of checking the community out, checking out what this whole real estate investing thing's about and what we have to offer and things like that as far as a community. And they don't know Julian Franco. So it's great to kind of tell a little bit about your story, a little bit about kind of your background, where you came from, kind of what you were doing, and then how you found the community and why you wanted to be a part of this community like me and so many others. So go ahead, Julian.
Sure, sure. So, well, my name is Julian Franco. I was born and raised in Cali, Colombia. I got here in 1999 to the U.S. And the reason we left Colombia was because we had to be honest with you. My father had a construction company. And I don't know if you guys remember the social situation back in Colombia during the 90s. It was not ideal. We had a lot of issues, and my dad, he has a lot of projects in the countryside of Colombia, and he had to deal with the guerrillas, and they would ask him for what they call the vacuna, which is like a tax to let him, work. And he didn't want to pay it, so they started burning all the heavy equipment. They kidnapped the operators, and they end up kidnapping my dad. So they had him for about a week, and he had an opportunity to escape, and he actually did. He escaped. So when he got home, immediately, I mean, the very same day, we had to jump on a plane and leave. So we landed here in Miami. We didn't have any at the time. We didn't have any language. I mean, we didn't speak the English. We didn't have any legal paperwork to stay here. We have any money, because I mean, we have to live in a rush, and he couldn't sell anything, so we had to start, from scratch here. I started civil engineering in Colombia, and I tried to find a way to get into that field when I landed here, but because of the language and the lack of legal documents, it was impossible for me. So I was given an opportunity to start working in a restaurant. So during the day, I was actually working as a dishwasher. The manager gave me the opportunity to wait tables during the afternoon, and I was taking 9 classes at a local school just to learn the language. And I did that for many years. I spent close to 9 years in the restaurant business, working close to 75, 80 hours a week to barely make enough to cover my bills. I was making around $2,000 a month at the time. Um, I didn't have any, time freedom. But everybody was at the beach during the weekend, and I was waiting, working at the restaurant, and I was kind of like getting tired of the whole situation. I remember one day my dad called me, asking me for money for his heart medicine. He's had a heart condition, and I couldn't even provide for that. So that was kind of like slap in my face. I was already living out of credit cards. I was spending more than I was earning, and I know I had a time bomb in my hands. I got to a point that I was $45,000 in credit card debt, barely paying the minimum payments. So I know I was not going to be able to get out of that. So I started for an opportunity to do something else. I knew a part time was not going to cut it, because I didn't have the time for the part time. So I have to be able to replace the income and doing something else. So I started looking for a way to get involved with real estate. I knew there's money in real estate. As I said before, my family had a construction company in Colombia, and they did pretty well. And so I remember one day I was reading at the newspaper, and that was back in 2000 and think it was 2006 or 7, something like that. And this says investment property, 3-2 investment property for sale, no money needed, and the phone number. And I said, well, I don't have any money. And I mean, this sound like what I'm looking for. So I called the guy and I told him, listen, I don't have any money, but I'm very interested in getting in this industry. What do you have? So he took me to the property. It was a 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom house in Riviera Beach, about an hour away from where I live. It had a Section 8 tenant in place, and the Section 8 tenant was paying about $1,100 a month. The house was in good conditions. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Section 8, but every year it has to pass an inspection and make sure that everything is fine. So the guy told me, listen, if you're interested, I can structure the deal in a way that you can get the property. And I said, okay, so let's do it. And sure enough, we went to the closing date. And not only I got the property, but I also walked away with $30,000 in my pocket. No money out of pocket. I didn't have to put any money, not even for closing costs. So the guy told me, listen, your mortgage payment is going to be around $1,400. Your tenant is going to pay $1,100. So you have enough money to pay the balance. And if anything comes up, any repairs or anything like that, just go ahead and take care of that with the money I gave you. And in 2 years or something like that, just sell it for a profit, and there you go. You can get started. So that for me was like a wow. I mean, I didn't know that was actually a way to create stuff. I thought it was just going to the bank, get a loan, put a down payment, and the conventional things of doing real estate. So when he structured that, I started calling the guy and asking him to mentor me, to show me, and he said, listen, I have 2 or 3 businesses that I'm running. I don't have time to coach. I don't have time to train. I'm not properly structured to train and educate. But go ahead and take a look at these people. These people are actually teaching the right way. And not only that, but they're also providing a lot of the mentorship that you're looking for. And that's what I did. I mean, he referred me to a meeting when I met the community. And I went to the meeting. I saw the value. I was broke. I didn't have a way to get it done. But I remember that day I made the decision to do it. I didn't have a way to do it, but I made the decision to do it. So I started looking for an opportunity, for a way to actually get in. And it took me a few months to actually get involved. When I did, I started, taking my trainings, my classes. I got involved in a time that was in 07, 08, where the market crashed. I don't know if you guys remember back in 08, everything went downsized, and people owe more to the lender than what the market value of the property was. So we started putting in action a strategy called short sales. And so we started getting one deal. That deal referred us 2. That's 2 referrals 4. And when we actually looking at, that about a year after we were in, we have about 145 short sales that we were working, my partner and I, Antonio Lobo. But the first deal that we closed, it took me about 2 months to negotiate that deal. And I was actually at the restaurant, and I was taking an hour break on Tuesdays and Fridays to follow up with the bank. So we submitted all the paperwork, all the short sale package, and I was following up every Tuesday, every Friday for an hour. About 2 months down the road, we received the short sale approval. And while we were actually negotiating with the bank, I was marketing the property to get a buyer. So when we got the short sale approval, we already have the buyer lined up. So we bought and sold the property without using our money or credit the very same day. And we made a net profit of $21,000 and some change. So remember, I was coming from the restaurant, working about 80 hours a week, barely making $2,000 a month, which is about $24,000 a year. And it's just a matter of a few phone calls a week. In 2 months, I pretty much made what I made in the whole year. So that for me was an eye opener. I was like, okay, if I
Sure.
can do only 2 or 3, I'm good. I mean, I'm good to go. And I mean, thank God since then, I've closed over 300 transactions, and my wife and I, we own now 46 doors that pay us rent every single month. I mean, we have an opportunity to do pretty much whatever we want. We just came back from a 2 week trip in Europe, and during those 2 weeks, I was able to close a transaction remote and make $40,000 net. So this is a blessing for me and my family. You know, the decision that my wife and I we made back in the day when we decided to do this, and something that I didn't tell you. I mean, I had an opportunity when I was ready to make the decision and get involved. I had an opportunity to validate my civil engineering career, and so I had those two options. I said, okay, do I just validate my career and get a probably a nice job and become an employee and go that route, or take a leap of faith here and take action and do it better, do something different. And I decided to go this route against my mom, my sister, and everybody that they were actually looking for me to get the career validated here. So I think
And
for me and my wife, we made the smartest decision. We are glad that we now have an opportunity to spend a lot of time with our daughters. I'm part of her coaching, soccer coaching program. I also train my other daughter in volleyball, and we spend a lot of time with them. Work from home, and to be honest with you, nowadays, I mean, if I barely work 20 hours a week, that's too much. Uh, so yeah, that's pretty much what we have going on right now, and thank
Wow,
God
what a
that this.
powerful story, Julian. What a powerful story.
yeah, I was
Uh,
going to say the same thing. That was like you shared a lot of information in that time, because some people, like we have over like almost 80 something people here in the room, and I just want to just break a couple of things up, because one thing I noticed just in your story, that first of all you were determined. You had hard decisions. Neither one of them was easy, but you made a hard decision. But then you really got into real estate investing kind of right up front. And a lot of people are looking for like mentorship, and there's probably like people can put in the chat, that's what they're looking for. But the person says, this is great, but I don't have the time to give you to get you to where it be. So he pointed you to this community. And so you and I see what you're doing, you giving back. So it's not like this is not the deal that they're doing, but you're going to show them these are the deals that you can do by plugging in, being determined, learn. Because what I heard you also did, you pivot, because you talking about the crash and how you pivot, right? You wasn't stuck. So that's really, really awesome how you kind of like share that. And then you have the time and quality that you have always been searching for. And a lot of people are here online probably looking for the exact same thing. Um, and so I really do appreciate that you sharing that with us, because we all came from different walks of life, and we trying to make that decision. Should I do this thing called real estate investing? And you kind of laid out that you can, but you definitely got to be determined. So I sure do thank you for that. And then just you have your passion that you get to do, spending time with your family. And then it's like, we all used to like work, 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 work. And then you like, oh my gosh, if I work more than 20 hours a week, that's a bad week. so,
Yeah.
it's, so it's kind of interesting. And so thank you for sharing. What about you, Scott?
no, you said it all there, Keith. It's so inspiring, and just there's so many people that this story can resonate with. Not so much maybe coming from Colombia, coming from the situation that your family came from, but from the fact that you're working all those hours, working in the restaurant industry, understanding that this isn't going to work. So many times we do that in life, as we progress through our chapters of our life, and we're like, okay, we keep doing it, we keep doing the same thing over and over again, but we know it's not going to get us where we need to. And you were able to make that decision and just really move forward. and you took action, and that's so important. You know, I share that with so many people that I meet, Julian, that taking action is so important, and just getting involved. I loved hearing that you jumped in, you took your trainings, your classes, you learned how to do. I mean, you didn't just wake up and know how to short sale package.
Oh
You
yeah,
had to take classes and trainings, right,
definitely.
Julian?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I didn't even know that that was even possible until I actually got into one of these meetings, the community meetings, and they mentioned that. And I said, wow, but I know people in that situation. I mean, if I learn how to actually do that, I can help a lot of people get out of that situation. And that's what my partner and I, we decided to get started with. So we didn't even do any fix and flips and wholesale and all that stuff, which is what most people tried to do at the beginning. We concentrated in what the market was demanding, and we saw an opportunity, even though everybody else was walking away from real estate, because at the time nobody had wanted to do
Mhm.
anything with real estate. They said, "Are you crazy? You're gonna get involved in real estate? Everybody's losing property, everybody's losing money, and you're gonna get in real estate? You're crazy! You have an opportunity to become a civil engineer. Why don't you do that?" And I was like, "Okay, first of all, I don't want to be an employee. I hate being an employee. That's not for me. I want to run my show, and I want to be able to design my own thing. Even if I fail, it's my own choice. I don't want to be under other people's terms." And I don't know if that's since I remember for the longest I've been like this. I hated every single minute that I was working as a waiter, but I had to because I didn't know any better. And it took me, that slap in the face that to actually start looking for something else. But
Mhm.
yes, that's pretty much what happened to me.
Well, again, what a wonderful story. I mean, so inspiring. And you're talking about one strategy when you talked about short sales, you talked about wholesaling, you talked about fix and flip, several different strategies you just mentioned. And I know you're going to be sharing here in a second a flip with everybody. And but again, you mentioned short sales. What a to me it seems like what an important time to really understand how the short sale strategy works, how the process works, because I believe there's going to be some opportunity coming up in that area in short sales
Oh
with
yeah.
what's going on with our economy and housing and things like that. So, well, you got a great deal you want to share with us today. And I do want to one more time mention you did say you and your wife have 46 rental properties,
I have
doors.
46 doors. Yeah, there's a few
That's great.
families, but yeah, there's 46 doors that pay us rent.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You like that mailbox money?
Oh, it's awesome, man. I
you
love
were
it.
pro- you were while you were out of the country, you were probably getting checks deposited for you while you were gone, didn't you?
I did. I did. It was awesome.
Uh, that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about this deal here. It's in West Park, Florida,
Yeah. Let me
and
share.
how close is that to Fort Lauderdale?
Hold on. Let me share the image right here. Let me see if you can see the picture. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So that's about 20 minutes away from Fort Lauderdale, going south. It's a small city. This property has an interesting story. The owner of the property died, and the family that inherited the property, they were living up north. So a friend of mine who's a realtor and also part of the community, he called me and said, "Listen, I just find out about this property, and we have an opportunity here to do something." So we contacted the people that inherited the property, and we help them go through the probate situation. So for those of you who don't know, if you don't have a trust lined up when before you die, the state will decide what's going to happen with your assets. So these people didn't have a trust, and so we have to actually help them go through the probate situation. And when everything was said and done, we were ready to buy the property. So the property it was in a distress. Let me show you a little bit of the pictures. Hold on. So this is one of the sides. If you can see right here, they has what is called a compact AC unit. So the handler and the compressor are both in the same, equipment. They have this water filter that we end up removing. This is the jar. One of the good things about this property is it has one of the largest lots in the area. So people look for those things. This is a back porch, an enclosed back porch. There was a mess, bunch of leaks, and needed some work. Um, we do get the panels for the hurricanes. That's something that it was a plus when we saw this shed right here and we opened up, all the panels were there, so that was great. um, this is the shed right there, and it seems like they did an extension to the property because this is not part of the structure. This is all metal, and so we end up enclosing in a proper way, and we made it look like it actually part of the house. And we turned this this area right here into a bathroom because the property was originally a 3-1, and we turned it into a 3-2. This is the storage section that you can see right here. This window that you see it goes to the bathroom, and right next to it, what we end up doing was we end up opening a door to connect the master bedroom with this area right here, where we built the second bathroom, the master bathroom. Okay. This is the porch right here. This is the bathroom. Well, I mean, it was not functional, but it obviously needed some updated. So we pretty much replaced the whole thing. This is the bedrooms. There was some kind of probably water damage because as you can see, there's some water spots and mold growing in it. Another bedroom. Water heater was new, was a gas water heater. This is the laundry area where the washer and dryer is. This is the kitchen section. This is kind of like a bar area for the kitchen. You see the refrigerator right next to it. And they have a built-in oven in the walls. That was kind of crazy what they did right there, but it's part of the deal. They have a gas range, a little bit of countertops right here. And that was pretty much it as far as the kitchen. I mean, the kitchen was very small.
Hey, Julian,
So,
I just,
yeah,
because we know some people have some questions they're going to put in the
sure.
chat, but is this typical what you see in your area?
I mean, it's not typical, but I mean, we've been getting them very often lately. I don't know why. I mean, we've been finding properties in a high level of distress lately, but it's not the regular MLS deal, So if you are looking with a realtor, you're probably not gonna find this type of deals. This is something that you have to dig in a little bit more and find the right decision maker just to get into those. So yeah, I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, yeah. And then somebody's asking, like, you mentioned about creating a door. Now, did you have like a general contractor do it? Did you come up with the designs? Because people are trying to understand how to become a real estate investor. They want to learn, but then it's like, okay, who's making these decisions when you're looking at a house?
Well, I do have a contractor who's been working with me for about 12 years now. We walk the house, every single house that I go to, we walk it around and we think about the ways we can improve the layout. We like open floor plans. We like increasing the areas. So every time we walk around the property, we say, okay, what if we do this? What if we do that? And that's one of the decisions that we made together. And this is kind of funny when we did this house because we started working this house and we didn't pull any permits. So we didn't talk to the city about getting any electrical, plumbing, all the permits that you need to pull in order to do this. So we did the second bathroom and without any permits. But one of the things that my contractor and I always agree on and always do is, we take pictures of every single thing that we do, even the nails that you put, how separate the nails are, all the insulations, all the studs, the dimensions of the studs, everything. So we document everything, just in case if something comes up after, we have a way to prove that we did it on the code. On this particular property, we did the same thing. We end up finishing up everything, without pulling any permits. But I'm going to tell you what happened after, which ended up being a good thing. And I'm going to explain in a minute. So this is the kitchen right here, a bathroom, one of the bedrooms. So as you can see, the house needed some work. I think this is pretty much all the pictures I have. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Let me show you the ones after.
So and before we go there, Julian,
Mhm.
one of the things that you had said, and Scott says it every Saturday when we have a property tour, is you talked about you and your general contractor for 12 years. It's relationship, building that relationship as you are, as a real estate investor, your net worth, your relationship that kind of moves along. And so that's really critical when it comes to that, because you said 12 years. So this is not something that just happened overnight. So y'all kind of gleam off of each other.
Right.
Scott, you want to share something else too about that relationship?
No, it's just, a lot of people when we, first get in the business, they have heard relationships are important and they understand the concept of that, but it just doesn't happen overnight. And I'm sure, Julian, like most of us, have gone through some different contractors, different relationships, and building that to a point where you have, your HVAC people and your air and your electrical people and your general contractor and all that. It's just so crucial to everything. And having this individual you've worked with for 12 years, I mean, you guys probably, you're at the point where you think a lot alike. And
Yeah.
so,
So yeah, when I
wow,
started,
what a difference on the front. That is amazing.
yeah, it looks better. Yeah. When I started, I had a bunch of different contractors. Some of them stole money from me, until I actually got the right one. So it's a process. Some people are actually gonna have the right contractor from the beginning. Some other people are gonna have to go through the process, but don't get discouraged. This is part of the deal. This is part of building your team, and you need a team because without my team, I wouldn't be able to go on a trip, and everything is still moving forward down here. So you definitely need a team for you to run this real estate investing business. And yeah, this is the front. We turn it around a little bit. This is the living room. New baseboard. We painted everything. We put this is waterproof vinyl that we're putting right now in every single property that we're remodeling. The new kitchen. We put some, quartz countertop, stainless steel appliances. Very nice looking kitchen cabinets. So it turned out to be pretty nice. This area right here was not used on the previous kitchen. So we ended up taking away a little closet that they have right there to put the refrigerator. So we end up creating a little bit more space for the kitchen. This is one of the beds. This is the bathroom that you saw before. There you go. This is the master one. This is the one that we created from scratch. I wish I had pictures of. I know my contractor does, but I don't. Pictures of the process. It was very interesting. One of the bedrooms, the other bedroom. This is the, the laundry area where the water heater is, and those are all the pictures I have, guys, of this property. But what I was telling you is that this property was an interesting thing at the end because when we were ready to put it in the market, we listed the property. And so we had a person, and he was actually a neighbor's relative, very interested in, he submitted the offer and everything. and we were doing the process of the loan. And when we were about a week or a week and a half away from closing, I come to the property and I see a red notice, red paper on the door, and it says City of West Park, work without permit, stop work, and all the things that they put on those papers. And I was like, oh damn, they got us. So I knew I had my hands full because they had some, I have to take care of all the permitting and all everything, and we didn't have a lot of time because we were about a week away from closing. So I told the guy, we had the property at the time under contract for 385. Um, Let me get to the numbers. So no, let's explain the situation first. So we had a 385, and I told him, listen, I need about a month. Give me a month to resolve the situation. I know how to take care of that. And I mean, I've done it many times before. So I have to actually go to the city, go through the process, got my contract to pull permits, all my subsidiary contracts to pull permits, and I did all the back and forth, all the plans, and all the everything. I did all the legwork, and make sure that everything went through. I showed the pictures. All the inspectors were happy with the pictures, and we end up, closing all the permits and making everything 100% legal. But during the time, the end buyer didn't want to wait, so he decided to, cancel the contract. I returned his deposit, and there we go. So we now again on, marketing the property. But the good thing about that is that during that time, the market appreciated. We were on an appreciating market. So the 385 that we had it on the contract, now the property went up, and we had it for, let me show you the numbers now. Hold on. Can you see the PDF right there? I'm sorry, the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay. So we had the acquisition on this property was 217,650. These are the numbers now. The rehab cost was about $87,000 and some change. The holding cost on this property was $2,000 plus. We have the selling cost. As you can see, the ARB was 437. So we went from 385 up to 437. So that month that we end up losing, pulling permits and all that stuff, we end up gaining, additional equity on the property because we were on an appreciating market. South Florida is like that. South Florida is crazy. It goes up and down very, very quick. So we had an opportunity during that time, and it was actually great for us. So the selling costs, including closing costs and all that stuff, 19,665. The total cost on this property was 326,552. So we end up having a net profit of $110,000 on this property. So that's the plan B, plan A, right? Every time I run my numbers, I try to have a backup plan. So if something doesn't work and I don't end up selling the property, I need to rent it. I need to put it on, as a short-term rental, or I need to sell or finance it, or probably lease option it, so I have to have a backup plan, and I do my numbers on every single deal before I get into the deal to see if they work. So plan B was rented. So I'm very, very good, very, very into Section 8. Most of my rentals are Section 8 tenants. The average rental on this property was $3,400, but Section 8 paid $3,800 on it. So that was my plan B, to put a Section 8 tenant in place. If I refi the property at 70% loan to value, the loan was going to be about $327,750. My principal and interest, 7.5% for 30 years, was $2,502 per month. And taxes were about $283 per month. Insurance was $213 per month. Landscaping $60 per month. Reserves, if something comes up, it's $100 per month. So I had a cash flow of approximately $642 every single month. So those were my two options. Either I fix it and sell it, or I fix it and rent it. And so that's pretty much what happened with this deal. Any questions that you may have, guys?
Well, one of the things, Julian, that you were talking about, that you went through a process that ended up working out fine in this situation. Um, you talked about how you went through, and in this particular one, you didn't pull any permits.
Correct.
And that's obviously, first of all, for everybody that's on, you need to understand your market and what you can and can't do. Here in our market, in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky market, it's very heavily permitted. And so we understand that, and so we really don't go through a process without pulling the permits. In your market, like you said, you've done this before. There's some things they let you get through, and obviously a lot of times the inspector,
Yeah.
if you've done several deals, and if you've taken certain pictures and done certain things, that inspector will be fine with it. So again, for everybody on, I don't want anybody to think that that's a blanket thing wherever you live. You just need to understand your market and know your market. And Julian, you were able to, that plan B, or that set, not this plan B, but the option of, okay, I had to put it back on the market and lost some days, but ended up, because of the appreciation value went up because of the market going up, you ended up being okay.
Yeah, that's
And
what Scott
it could have gone the
says.
other way though, right,
Correct.
Julian?
It could
It
have
could
gone
have gone the other
worse,
way.
because if what happens if I was in a depreciation market and I was actually losing money, what happened if the inspectors decided not to take the pictures and they actually wanted me to take everything down to take a look at what's behind the walls? So yes, I wouldn't recommend it. I took the risk on it, but I wouldn't recommend it to do it right. And I'm gonna be honest with you, what I was in that saving was about like $2,000 on the permits and all that stuff. So once the deal was done, I was like, it didn't make any sense. I mean, it was fine because I was able to take advantage of the appreciation of things, but the risk was high. So if you guys are getting started, if you guys wanted to do it right, I mean, do it the right way. You don't need to cut corners, and it's better if you pull the permits and all that stuff. If you do the math, that's not going to
Mhm.
cost you that much, to make the
So
difference.
interesting thought here. I just saw a message come across. What would the numbers have had to say to you? Like if you were looking at option two, would there have been a different number for you on the cash flow that you would have said, yeah, I'm not going to sell this property. I'm going to keep it. Where would that number have had to been for you on this particular deal?
Well, here's the thing with this deal, and when something that I failed to mention is that it was a partner and myself. We financed the deal
Okay.
ourselves. So I had a partner on it, and he didn't want to do this. So the second option, he wanted his money back, and so that was one kind of like the issue. He wanted to has his profits. I have had partners before that they're okay with renting the property, but at the end of the day, if I decided to go on plan B, I would have had to get some money out of my pocket to pay him off so I can keep it as a rental. And I'm glad that everything worked out to be the way it was, fix and flip, and that's it. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I had in mind.
Yeah. Well, the house turned out absolutely beautiful. Now, I believe you mentioned earlier, for everybody that's on, you've been involved in what, over 300 deals at this time?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you, because I kind of lost count. I've done a lot of different type of deals. I started doing a lot of short sales. I did a lot of wholesaling, fix and flip, seller financing. I am developing land right now in an area called Lehigh Acres down here in South Florida.
Hmm.
I have a bunch of multifamilies that I own. I started to spread around a little bit, and I'm not only in South Florida now. I'm South Georgia, and Kansas, and Cleveland. So I'm doing a bunch of different things with different people. Most of them are from the community, so that's one of the things that I'm so thankful about this whole opportunity. It's not only the knowledge that I got, but the connections that I created during the time that I was getting trained, and all the people that I talked to. I mean, they're part of the team, part of the community. These are people that I can trust, and I know that they're not gonna do bad by me. And that's why I'm investing in Cleveland, Kansas, and Georgia, because I have people that I can trust. And so if anything, just the fact that you're gonna have an incredible network, once you decide, if you decide to join, that would be more than enough. I mean, that's an incredible plus.
Well, Julian, you said something that was like, you said something, and I caught on to it. I like to catch those, like those nuggets that's thrown out there. And even with Scott is, when you looked at that deal, because you're comfortable with certain deals, what a lot of people I don't think they saw was, when you looked at that deal, you also saw the investor at the same time within the community, because you know what type of people like to do certain things. Like when you went and talked to your investor, hey, I just want to get in and out. So it's like, okay, as you're going through your options, you're like, you know what? This is a fix and flip. And you were comfortable. Is that kind of like fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, initially that was the idea. That's the conversation that I had with him. And but I mean, knowing me, I know that I was gonna run different scenarios. So I was 100% committed on the fix and flip.
There
I'm
you go.
showing you guys the numbers on the rental. Just because if something went south, I had to have a backup plan. But I know that I have to get out of the deal because of my investor partner that I had at the time. So yeah, that's the situation.
No, and that's great. And I, just like myself and Scott, I like the community to be able to bounce things off as we kind of like looking at, having your exit strategies. But people are always looking for the money first. They're looking for the money first. You found the deal, and then when you found the deal, then the relationship within the community and how you do business, that came along with it. And so that is really awesome, how you start to learn how to run the numbers. And hopefully, people are actually hearing, the story behind this story, as we kind of say it, as when you start to think about, well, how will you tackle that when it comes to real estate investing? um, I know I look at like buying holes, just like you look at different strategies, and then I look at my investors. And
Yeah.
Scott, I think you kind of do the same thing. Is that, oh, you on mute there?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, Keith. I do the same thing. Yeah, we do have Keith. I want to make sure before we run out of time, we've got some good questions coming in here. I'd love to get to. Um, Let me pop if I can get back to it. There we go. Julian's, someone told you about this property, but how do you find properties that are not listed with a realtor?
Well, a lot of the ways I get properties are connections, network. I keep talking to a lot of people involved in the industry. I have a bunch of good friends of mine that are investors, and they specialize in a different type of investing. So when they come across to a deal that fits my criteria, they call me. I have attorneys that call me on deals that are not on the MLS, and they call me on that. I have had hard money lenders that when they're about to, foreclose on a property or something like that, they call me, and just for me to actually help out. So it's different sources. No, this is like fishing. You don't put a lot of poles out there and see what you can get. So that's what we have. We have a bunch of poles out there. I rarely, I don't remember. I don't remember the day that I've got a property from the MLS. To be honest with you, I use the MLS to do analysis. I use the MLS to sell, but I haven't found a good deal on the from the MLS in a long time. In a long time, so I don't waste my time with the MLS. I know that's retail value, so I don't spend time with that. But a lot of the deals that come to my table come from members of the community, guys local and in other areas that are knocking on doors, that are networking, that are, doing a lot of the legwork, and they call me. So we end up
Mhm.
partnered up on deals.
Another good question here. Have you ever not been able to refi after a rehab? Do you have to find a renter before you attempt to refinance it? I'm concerned not having the income to refi since I'm just getting started.
Yeah. Okay. So a piece of advice. Okay. So that's a great question. That's a great question, and I understand where the question is coming from because you have in your mind that there's only a conventional way to do things. So once you start getting involved in this, you're going to realize there are ways to refi without not even looking at your credit, not even looking at your income. So, and that's how we play. So we use those type of lenders that are specialized for investors like us, and they're very good. So we don't have to worry about providing tax returns, providing nothing like that. So that most of the things are just based on the asset. So that's the way I refi my deals right now. If you put my credit, I mean, I have $46 right now. If you put my credit, I only have one mortgage, which is my house. I mean, not even my house. The HELOC on my house is the only one that you can see. So it just playing in a different world. But you're gonna learn about that. Believe me.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you said that right at the end. You're going to learn about that. Plugging into the community, getting involved, taking classes, doing the trainings. That's how you get to where you are at this point, Julian. It didn't happen overnight. I remember, if ever, for everybody remember Julian's story. I mean, he was working in a restaurant, working 80 hours a week, and he got an opportunity and he was able to acquire his first property without any money out of his own pocket. And he found this community because he was looking for mentorship. So many people that I meet, Julian, and I'm sure you do too, they're just looking for help or advice or mentorship. And like the one individual told you, is just like, I've got three businesses. I want to help you, but the best way I can help you is refer you to a group of people that could help you.
Correct.
And that's what this community is all about. And again, we've got so many questions coming in. We're got about 10 minutes here wrapping up. I do want to try to get a couple more of these questions. Um, Someone asked about how do you write up a contract? Well, first of all, part of your cabinet or part of your team is developing a relationship with a lawyer, with a realtor, with a title company, with a contractor, with that type of thing, all your suppliers, stuff like that. But your attorneys can help you with that. Plus, we have within our community and with our trainings and our classes, we have some wonderful classes on contracts itself,
Yeah.
and to learn about that. So um, uh, that was one of the questions that came in. Um, there's one more I wanted to get to. Said, how do you get the money to continue buying and flipping? How do you continue to get to improve by banks if you already have a mortgage? I already have a mortgage in renting. Well, I think you kind of addressed that. There are a lot of lenders out there today, a lot of lenders that base the loan um, off of the value and the asset itself. And if it's a rental property, they base it off the rental property itself. And there's so many different avenues out there, guys. You just have to do your due diligence and you have to do, your research. But there's so many avenues out there and resources where you can find lenders who don't require tax returns, who don't require proof of income, who basically the whole deal is valued on the property itself, and you just got to do that. So that you got to do your homework
Yeah.
basically. And well, Julian, I know we couldn't get to all the questions. We're getting close to ending this, wrapping it up. I'd love to give you an opportunity to kind of leave everybody. This has been a fantastic property tour. So much information. We could have done this for 2 or 3 hours. You've got a big match tonight at 6 o'clock in soccer. So, or do you call it football?
Well, we call it football. You call it soccer.
Yeah, we call it soccer. You call it football. So Venezuela's got a match against Panama tonight in the quarters. So as everybody sees, Julian's got his jersey on there. Yeah, I love it too. I've seen it out. I just flew back from the Bahamas, and I saw that jersey at least a half a dozen times coming through the Miami airport.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, how would you like to wrap up today's call for folks? Again, remembering, we got a lot of people on that are thinking about getting involved in the community, trying to understand real estate investing, wanting to get started. A lot of people have the fear, they're afraid of taking action, things like that. Well, how would you like to leave everybody?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is something that I probably tell a lot of the guys that I talk to down here. And is if a guy from a different country who came here with no English, didn't have any financial resources, it didn't have the time. I was working 80 hours a week. I didn't have any network because most of my friends were the people working in the kitchen and the waiters. So I didn't have a lot of the things that most of you do have, and yet I was able to make it happen for me and my family. So if a guy like me was able to do it, anybody here can make it happen. It's just a matter of getting educated and taking action. The challenge that I see with a lot of people is that they want to get results too quick, and they lose consistency, they lose persistency, and that's what happens. So every time they get started, they very very motivated, but if I'm in a month they don't see any results, now they somebody else tell them about a different opportunity on a different business, something like that, and they run away. So if you're not going to be consistent in this, it's going to be hard. But if you know that this is the right way and you're going to get educated, you're going to plug into the trainings, you're going to contact your network, people around you, and you're going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. Believe me, even if it takes a year to cash on a deal that is going to pay you that's what happened to me. I cashed on a deal that paid me pretty much what I made on a year's salary as a waiter. So that for me was worth it, and it's been worth it since I made the decision. So it's just keep doing it, keep doing. Don't let other opportunities out there, kind of like take you away from this. The time freedom, the financial freedom that this business provides, I haven't seen anywhere. And for me, it's been a blessing. For my family, it's been a blessing. And I hope the same thing happens to you and your family.
Awesome, Julian. Thank you for sharing. That is really awesome. You had shared a lot of nuggets, and we really do appreciate your time and making the decision to, give back to the community by sharing, your road that you had traveled. And so we say thank you. And for everybody, if you're trying to figure out, how do you get started, ask the person who invited you to this meeting. You got the link from somebody, email, text, or however. Contact that person that says, hey, I want to make that decision because Scott made a decision, Keith made a decision, Julie made a decision to do this, and you ready to make that decision too. Just reach out to them. You can get all the other questions that you're looking for. People ask like, how do you estimate numbers? What system do you use? We have tools. All of that is in the person. You just need to contact and says, hey, how do I get started? So again, thank you, Scott. I know we probably got another one next weekend, another property tour. I'm excited.
You betcha.
Awesome. So I thank you for putting these together, every Saturday, showing that we're doing real estate investing in today's time, right? A person in action, showing, folks out there who are learning and growing. So again, thank you everybody for being here. Scott, I turn it over to you so you can close us out.
Now, again, what a great property tour, Julian. Thank you. We really appreciate you taking an hour out of your day and sharing with us. It's been way too long, my friend, since you've been out. We can't wait as long next time. For everybody on, have a blessed 4th of July weekend. Please be with your family and friends. And we'll be right back here next Saturday, same time. And we've got another great property tour in store for you. So we'll see you then. Keith, thank you very much. Julian, you guys have a great weekend.
Thank you for having me. Good day.